Once upon a time, an 8-year-old boy, Oliver, and his grandfather lived in a cabin on the outskirts of the forest. On Christmas morning, Oliver sat by the fireplace in the cabin. Outside, the snow was falling, and everything was quiet. That morning, Oliver opened a gift box. Inside, he found a golden book. The book was shiny and smooth. When Oliver opened it, a tiny golden dragon appeared. The dragon was bright and beautiful, and it almost blinded Oliver with its glow. The dragon explained that it had come from a magical land and that they needed help. It said that in their land, the magical light that kept their world bright had gone out. Without it, everything had fallen into darkness. They needed someone brave to help them bring the light back. The dragon said that Oliver was the right person. Oliver, filled with curiosity, asked how he could help. The dragon explained that the light was far away, deep in a dark forest. The forest was full of dangers, but the dragon believed that Oliver could do it. It said Oliver had something special inside him. Oliver looked at his grandfather, who was sitting in his chair, quietly watching. His grandfather gave a slight nod, as if he knew this moment had come in Oliver's life. When Oliver looked at him, his grandfather smiled and told him that this was his journey, and that he would support him no matter where it took him. Oliver smiled back and said that he was ready for the adventure. Then they went. Oliver and the dragon walked deeper into the forest. The trees seemed to touch the sky, and the fog grew thicker as they went. The air was cold, and snow fell softly around them. Oliver felt excited, but also a little scared. The dragon told him they had to go deep into the forest to find the place where the light had gone out. It would not be easy. They would face many dangers along the way. But Oliver was brave. He was ready to help. As they walked, Oliver heard strange sounds. He heard the wind whispering through the trees. The branches creaked and groaned. It felt like the forest was alive. The dragon flew ahead, glowing brightly to light the way. After a while, they reached a dark part of the forest. The trees were so close together that no light could get through. The air was thick with fog. Oliver felt nervous, but the dragon told him not to worry. It said it would be okay as long as they stayed together. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed through the trees. Something was moving in the shadows. Oliver's heart raced. There was a bear. The dragon quickly flew around the bear, circling it. The bear roared, but the dragon was fast. It darted around the bear, confusing it. Oliver remembered what the dragon had told him. He had to be brave. Slowly, he stepped forward and shouted,
"Go away, bear. We need to pass."
The bear looked at him, confused. It growled one more time and then slowly turned away. It disappeared back into the forest. Oliver and the dragon continued on their journey. The forest was still dark, but they felt stronger. Oliver knew he could face whatever came next. They came to a small clearing. In the middle of the clearing stood an old stone tower. It was covered in ivy and looked abandoned. The dragon flew closer and explained that this was where they needed to go. The light was hidden inside the tower. Oliver looked up at the tower. It seemed old and mysterious. There was no door, just a large stone archway. He felt both nervous and excited. The dragon told him that he had to be the one to go inside because it couldn't enter. Only Oliver could. Oliver nodded and walked toward the tower. As he stepped under the archway, he felt a strange chill. Inside, the walls were covered with glowing symbols. They shined softly, like stars in the sky. Oliver walked carefully through the tower, trying to read the symbols. At the top of the tower, there was a small room. In the middle of the room was a crystal, shining dimly. It was the light they had been looking for, but something was wrong. The crystal was cracked, and the light inside it was fading. Oliver felt a rush of worry. He didn't know how to fix it. The dragon told him to touch the crystal, explaining that the crystal was special and that only someone with a pure heart could fix it. Oliver stepped forward and placed his hands on the crystal. He closed his eyes and thought about all the good things in his life. He thought about his grandfather, their cozy cabin, and the adventure he was on. He wanted to help the dragon and the magical land. He wanted to bring back the light. Suddenly, the crystal began to glow. The crack in the crystal started to heal. The light inside grew brighter and brighter. Oliver stepped back, amazed. The crystal was glowing with all the colors of the rainbow. The dragon appeared at the top of the tower. It was so happy that it flew around the room in circles. It told Oliver that he had done it, that he had saved the light. Oliver smiled, feeling proud. He had helped bring the light back. The tower was filled with bright light now, and it shone through the windows, lighting up the forest outside. The dragon explained that he must hurry and return the light to the sky, where it would bring daylight back to their world. So Dragon says goodbye to Oliver and thanks him for kindness and courage. As Oliver walked home, the forest around him seemed to glow with the light he had helped bring back. The air felt warmer, and the trees swayed gently in the breeze. The dragon's golden light still lingered in the sky, like a soft reminder of the adventure they had shared. The path leading back to the cabin was now clear, with no more fog or shadows. It felt peaceful, and the soft glow of the forest seemed to guide him. As Oliver walked, he heard the sound of birds chirping and leaves rustling underfoot. He felt a sense of calm wash over him, knowing that the forest was safe again. When Oliver reached the cabin, his grandfather was sitting in his chair by the window, looking out at the forest. He smiled when he saw Oliver approaching. Oliver rushed inside and sat down next to his grandfather. He told him everything: the golden book, the dragon, the dark forest, and the crystal that needed fixing. His grandfather listened carefully and nodded, telling Oliver how proud he was. He said that Oliver had shown great bravery and kindness to help the magical world. Oliver smiled and hugged his grandfather, feeling happy to be home. He realized that although the adventure had ended, he would always carry the memory of the golden dragon and the magical forest with him. He had learned that sometimes even the smallest person can make a big difference. That night, as Oliver lay in his bed, he looked out the window at the stars. He knew that the light was safe now, and the world was bright. The golden dragon was flying high above, and the forest was alive with magic.